U.S. Farm Report on the road from Murray State's Hudson School of Agriculture is brought to you by the Kentucky Soybean Promotion Board, putting checkoff dollars to work. Learn more at kysoy.org.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. We are very excited to be here at Murray State University. We have Andrew Jackson as well as Alan Hoskins on the panel with us. We'll have a good mix today, talking about some markets, but also talking about some ag finance and really, what do you need to be thinking about right now. But Alan, Andrew, let's look back to last week. USDA, some major reports, but it seemed like wheat was the biggest surprise. We saw an increase in wheat acreage that some people did not expect. Are we seeing that acreage increase here in Kentucky?
So in Kentucky, I think you probably are going to see an increase in acres now. Some of that, the thing with wheat always is how much of it actually gets harvested, right? Planted acres doesn't always equal harvested acres. So some of those acres can be flexible in the spring, depending on or in the summer, depending on what prices are then. So overall, yes, I think you'll see an increase in wheat acreage in Kentucky.
Yeah, talking to some producers actually in Texas, they haven't seen some rain in part of Texas since they planted wheat, and they don't even know if they're going to have a wheat crop. So there is a lot of question right now about this winter wheat crop that's in the ground. Do you think that there is some momentum when it comes to wheat prices that could continue into 2022, or do you think we left that behind last year?
Well, the momentum that we've seen since, really since maybe the 1st of December has been negative momentum. The last 2 months has not been great. We're, a buck or so off the high. So we really need to reverse that. If you look at the long-term chart, the continuous chart, we're still in good position, I think, but the short-term daily charts have taken some damage. But yes, we do need to turn that around, and part of that, we're going to need some support, I think, from other crops. That's going to help.
Yeah, speaking of other crops, Alan, I know you're having a lot of discussions right now with some farmers in the countryside. So when you look at southern Indiana, southern Illinois, parts of Kentucky, and the discussions that you're having right now, do you think we are going to see a major acreage shift, or is it really a question right now of farmers just trying to decide what to plant?
I think the latter is exactly what's going on, Tyne, because there are intentions out there, but the availability of fertilizer, the availability of seed, those things are still undetermined. And so what is going on, there are plans being put in place, but this year more than ever that I've seen in my career, there's also the knowledge that we may need to pivot from these plans once, maybe twice, before we actually get to planting season.
We're always faced with uncertainty as we head into planting season. When you look at weather, when you look at markets, we're always having this acreage debate. But Alan, have you ever experienced a time where there's this amount of uncertainty when it comes to even sourcing the inputs that we need to plant this crop? That could be the final say in what a lot of these producers plant.
In a short answer, no. I've never seen this type of circumstance in my career. And in talking to farmers, they're voicing the exact same thing. And they are working toward trying to normalize the year as much as they possibly can, but also understanding that they're dealing with more risk than they've ever seen. And they are thus far doing, I think, a really good job of engaging in conversation with the people that can help them and trying to have a multifaceted plan.
Well, Andrew, Alan mentioned risk, and we talk about managing risk all the time on this show. But it's really hard to manage risk when you don't know exactly what input you're going to be able to source this late in the year, at what price. So when you look at the input prices that we're faced with today and also managing risk on the commodity side, what advice do you have farmers for right now facing this great uncertainty headed into planting?
Well, first of all, you have to know your numbers. You have to know your budget. And you have to do a true cost comparison between corn and soybeans, and sometimes you just have to do the best you can with the data that you have at the time. All right, and you need to be flexible if you can at all, in case you run into a situation where you do have inputs that you can't get. In a normal year, most farmers wouldn't think twice about going out and booking 100% of their inputs and selling steadily throughout the year, or waiting till they know they've got a crop in the ground and a crop to harvest and then selling. But I'm not sure that this is the year to really fly by the seat of your pants and book 100% of your inputs, book $1,500 anhydrous, and just wait to sell corn. If there's money in the budget and enough that you're willing to book anhydrous, or you're willing to book whatever other input is, you really need to consider playing this year really close to the vest and trying to protect that margin, because if it does go sideways, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we have maybe we're back at $7 D's corn by next harvest, but maybe we're not. You got to kind of prepare for the unknown here. There's things that we can do. Remember, nobody saw COVID coming. All right, nobody saw. One thing I like to refer back to is the August 2020 report. That was a bearish report that we had a bullish upside reversal. Nobody saw that coming. So don't think that it can't happen this year. There's always something that comes along that we never expect. So you need to play this close. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and sell 100% of your corn, 100% of your soybeans cash right now. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is if you're booking inputs, you are 100% long corn and you're 100% long fertilized at record high prices. All right, so what I just told you is you're buying at the top, or what so far is the top. Now, the top may be higher later, but you're taking an incredibly risky position. So we need to look at some strategies to, at minimum, get started with some cash sales, get started with protecting floors, and again, we can go into the specifics of it, but there's lots of strategies we can use to do that.
Yeah, I do have a lot more questions, so we need to take a quick break, and then we will be back with more U.S. Farm Report in just a moment.